Troy's cheerleading squad heads to Disney.
And UAC helps some students break the ice. Stay tuned. TrojanVision News starts now.
From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network, Troy, Alabama's International University, this is TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision News for January 14th, 2016. I'm Haley Greathouse.
And I'm Jordan Elston. Thank you for joining us this evening. While Troy University's athletic teams compete to win at the highest levels of play, the men and women who cheer them on at the sidelines do a little competing as well. This week, the Troy cheerleaders are getting ready to head out for competition at the national level. Deborah Bogart gives us a preview.
The team typically on the sidelines will take center stage this weekend as they head to Disney World. But it won't all be fun and games as the Troy University's competition cheerleading team competes at Universal Cheerleading Association's College Nationals on Saturday.
It's a national competition where college cheerleading teams from all across in all the states come and compete, and they do a routine that consists of stunts, tumbling, dance, and a cheer, and we get scored. And we've done this is our third year doing it, and we're still kind of new to it, but we're really excited to go.
But they will be heading off without one member of their team, head coach Tiffany Chandler, who is expecting her first child. While it did present somewhat of a challenge, Jay John said the captains and assistant coach Ashley Caldwell really stepped up, and it proved to be rewarding.
Probably the biggest challenge has been our coach is pregnant, and she's due in the next week or so, so she's actually not going to be going to competition with us, and so without her we kind of had to have the captains take a lot of responsibility and the assistant coach, and so that was kind of a challenge, but at the same time it helped us learn and grow a lot.
Jay John said they have been hard at work practicing for months, often having both morning and night practices, but it will pay off when they feel confident with their routine at the competition.
I think the team's really excited. This is probably the most excited we've ever been, and like I said, I think it's just because we're more confident this year. In the past, we were like just hoping we don't look like idiots, and this year we're really excited to go and show everybody what we have, because now we're making a name for Troy, where in the past people said, who is Troy? Now they're looking forward to seeing us there, and that's really exciting. So I think we're just looking forward to being there, and I mean, it's Disney World, so we're excited to go.
Troy will compete on Saturday in the small co-ed Division I category. Deborah Bogart, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The squad already received a top score in the competition for their participation video.
Troy's Johnson Center for the Arts routinely brings in art from all over to be displayed for Pike County residents. This week, 2 new exhibits opened in the center. Samantha Charles gives us a look at one of those brand new exhibits.
The Johnson Center for the Arts, located in downtown Troy, kicked off the new year with a new exhibit titled Afro Exposed Exploited, a Black Experience by Darius Hill.
We wanted to celebrate a black artist. Well, first of all, to find an artist that is an award-winning artist, and we did. His name is Darius Hill. He is the chairman of the art department at the Birmingham School of Fine Arts, and an award-winning artist and a black artist. And when we began talking with Darius a little over 18 months ago about coming, showing his work here at the Johnson Center, he said, I have some art I'm already working on that I think will be perfect. So he has brought his exhibit, and it's titled Afro Exposed Exploited, a Black Experience.
Hill's inspiration came from his experience growing up during the civil rights era in Birmingham, Alabama.
He was creating art that kind of told his story of growing up in Birmingham during the civil rights era, and that his art represents that. It speaks of the past, the present, the future.
His most recent work is a response to his discoveries made while exploring the notion of the Black experience.
He's gotten really interested in doing circles in this large piece that you see here, and he feels that it represents the cycle that Black America has been on, the cycle of poverty, of lack of education, of decline in the community, and the struggle of many blacks to pull out of that, but we've still been in the cycle. And then the chevrons that represents the ups and downs of his life.
Samantha Charles, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
If you want to check out the display, the Johnson Center for the Arts is open Wednesday through Friday from 10 to 5 and Saturdays from 10 to 3. It's located on Walnut Street in downtown Troy. Ice skating is an activity that's popular for this time of year in parts of the country where it actually gets cold enough to freeze over ponds and lakes.
That's right, Haley. However, down here in the South, it rarely gets that cold, so the ice skating options are limited. However, Troy students got the chance to lace up some skates last night. Ryan Renfro shows us how.
It was a night of selfies and skating for Troy students who attended the University Activities Council's Ice Skate Night. And if you ask those in charge, the idea had a little something to do with the weather.
We knew it would be getting colder sometime in Alabama, so we were like, let's have it right when school starts. So even though with the letdown of Dollar Movement Night, something big to just bring people in and be like, okay, well, USC is still bringing events to us that we enjoy and that we haven't had since 2012 of spring.
It was fun. It was a very rewarding experience. It was new. It was different. Since we live in the South and we don't typically get that much ice, so there's not a whole lot of ice skating. So since it was a newer thing, I figured I'd come out and try it out.
As for everyone else, well, some found their night out on the ice to be a little more difficult than expected. But for others, it wasn't so bad.
It's going good. First experience is awesome.
I'm enjoying it, but I'm learning. I know skating, but I'm not being able to do this.
It's great. I mean, the ice is cold. It feels good out here. I'm shredding pretty hard. It's pretty sweet.
And then, it was my turn.
As you can see, this is not very easy. Students that came had their hands full. Some are better than others, as you can see. I'm struggling right now, but nevertheless, tonight was a good night for students to come out and enjoy some time in the rink and get away from the classwork.
Ryan Renfro, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Next week's UAC event will be a Hypnotist this Wednesday at 7 in Claudia Crosby Theater.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. Alabama's Medicaid program says it will need an additional $157 million to maintain services next year. It is a request that caused lawmakers to lash out at expense of the healthcare program and its recipients.
Police say a Louisiana teenager has been shot to death at a Tuscaloosa apartment complex, marking the city's 4th homicide in a 6-day span. A Tuscaloosa Metro homicide captain says 19-year-old Daniel Torrey of Harvey, Louisiana, was gunned down yesterday afternoon in the parking lot of an apartment complex in southeastern Tuscaloosa.
Federal prosecutors in the case of an Alabama police officer accused of using excessive force on an Indian man are looking to block the officer's colleagues from testifying if a retrial is held. Prosecutors filed a motion yesterday to exclude testimony from Madison police officers who don't have firsthand knowledge of the February encounter between Officer Eric Parker and 58-year-old Sarish Bhai Patel.
Still to come on Troy Trojan Vision News, the Trojan men's and women's basketball teams are in action tonight against a doubleheader in Arlington. Ryan Renfro has more in sports.
There was no stopping the celebration of a dream come true. The 7-Eleven in Chino Hills, where luck beat out. It's a party at the 7-Eleven where one of 3 winning Powerball tickets was sold. I'm Edward Lawrence in Chino Hills, California. The latest on all the winners coming up.
The warrior spirit, it's in there. Always has been. Now let it out and take the world by fire. Train well and learn what it means to be a Troy Trojan. Walk with confidence, conquer, claim territory, and climb ladders. Know that you have the power to stand alone, but the comfort of knowing that you'll never have to. Discover your inner warrior. Find it at troy.edu/spirit.
Hey. Look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy Trojan Vision News.
the men's basketball team. Now recently, it has lost 5 straight games and is coming off a pair of tough road losses last week against Georgia Southern and Georgia State. But tonight, the Trojans take on the Mavericks of UT Arlington, a team that currently stands at a 12-2 record on the year and is no stranger to playing on the road.
They beat Ohio State on the road. They lost to Texas in overtime at the University of Texas. There's a lot of parallels between them and the University of Arkansas Little Rock. So they've been ranked high in the RPI. They're very good, very talented offensively.
Trojans come into tonight's matchup looking to grab that first conference win of the season. But don't let the 5-10 record fool you. Of their 10 losses, 9 have come by 10 points or less, and 7 of those games by 6 points or less. Following tonight's game, the Trojans will bounce back for a matchup against Texas State on Saturday at 4:15 p.m. Now, before the men's team takes the court, make way for the women's team, also known as the top offense in the Sun Belt Conference. Head coach Chandler Rigby and her Trojans will take on UT Arlington tonight at 5:15. Now, the Trojans do in fact have the conference's top offense, and they even have a little bit of a winning streak of 3 games to go along with that. But the Mavericks enter Trojan Arena tonight as the top defense in the conference, allowing only 53.7 points per game. Rigby shares a couple factors of this Mavericks team that may pose a threat, one being a few transfers that left Arlington but came back.
They're just a great team. They had the conference freshman of the year last year. She's a 6'5" center. She can really score, really block shots. But they've added some transfers. The coach I think what she did was saw the great players they had going out of Arlington to other schools, and some that maybe weren't happy where they were have come back and they've set out a year and they're playing this year. So it's a very strong Texas Arlington team.
Once again, the women's team will tip off at 5:15 and the men's team at 7:30. The basketball teams aren't the only ones in action as the Troy men's tennis team hits the court tomorrow in Kentucky against the Louisville Cardinals. The Cardinals are ranked 36th nationally and are coming off a 23-win season last year and a loss in the NCAA first round to Drake. The Trojans returned all but one player from last year's Sun Belt Championship team, a team that went 25-7 and made its second NCAA tournament appearance in program history. And if 2 basketball games tonight in Trojan Arena and the tennis season starting up on Friday in Kentucky isn't enough already, well, don't worry, the fun doesn't stop there. Get your sneakers ready because the track and field team is gearing up for its first meet of the season. The Trojans will travel to Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow to compete in the UAB Invitational.